Morning.
Good morning, sir.
So we talked to you real briefly about what it is that you're going to do, what you're going to experience today, and why. The what is the PERF 30. What is PERF? PERF's a Police Executive Research Forum. And I happen to be the president of it right now. But what we did as a group, and this is a lot of the progressive police chiefs in the country, have looked at how we've been utilizing force. And is it really consistent with the will of the people? And as with anything else, we know there's always a better way that we can do things, right? So we got together and we brought people from across the country and we looked at how force is applied by police officers. And we came up with 30 guiding principles. Now, in all truth be told, there really is nothing new in this. It's just kind of a revisiting of our core values and taking a more progressive step towards ensuring your safety and the safety of the people you're dealing with. In large part, because when we look across this country, the dynamic of the landscape is starting to change. But what we are doing is more than just a training class. This is more than just an 8-hour, check the box, you got it, go back to business as usual. This is about a culture of de-escalation, not just training in de-escalation. And what is culture? Culture is a shared set of values and beliefs. Culture is not you do something because of, it's you do something because it's not a rule, it's the way we all do things. It's the standard of which we hold each other to. And one of the things that we've been very proud of as an organization, in many aspects of policing, is we've been at the forefront. And we're going to continue to do that. So why are we doing this? Well, one, I think in light of a lot of the things that are taking place across this country, and a lot of the videos that have come out, it's caused a lot of people to question what it is that we do and how we do it. Now, there's always been critics of policing, and that's not going to change. But everybody in this room has to admit that you've seen some things that's bothered you done by your brother and sister officers out there. And you got to understand, there are people that have long supported us that they themselves are now asking, what is it you guys are doing? Could this have resulted in a different outcome? Is there a better way to do this? So we look at the broad range of what it is and how we do and what it is that we do and how we do it. And you're going to learn about concepts that we are really professionalizing and taking to the next level of distance and cover, and how that equates to time. How the mindset of repositioning is not retreating. Sometimes the best thing for you to do is to holster your weapon and back up. Or not take that step forward. Take a step sideways. And what's important for you to know is that it's okay. It's consistent with best practice. And it's supported by your brother and sister officers and the chief of your organization. That you're not going to be called a coward if you don't rush into a situation. If there is an emotionally disturbed person with a knife, that you don't run up and tackle them. We don't want that. We're not looking for situations to be rapidly resolved in every single incident. And that's in large part because when you look at the way we have been trained, it's to view situations as quickly as possible. And oftentimes, that's created situations in which we have enhanced the jeopardy. And it calls into question our credibility. Now you got to understand something. When our credibility gets called into question, the very ground that we stand on is weakened. It'll start to crumble if we don't do something about policing in a democratic society, which is what we do, where we are, is contingent upon the consent of the people. I want you to think about this for a second. You were given an enormous amount of authority and power with that badge that sits upon your chest. You are the only entity of government that is authorized to utilize deadly force upon its citizen. Think about that for a second. That is a tremendous amount of authority. And it's something that we have to ensure that when it comes to the time that we have to do that we have exhausted every other option. And that more importantly, we did not be the one that made a bad situation worse, thereby resulting in us leaving ourselves with the only option of deadly force. And that's happened in a few of these incidences that you've seen across the country. We have a 14-year-old kid that's suspected of having a handgun, standing by himself in the middle of the park. Officer pulls up on him. Kid pulls out a gun, officer shoots the kid. The kid dies. Turns out it's a toy gun. Now, in that moment in time, could one argue that it was reasonable that that officer felt his life was threatened? Didn't realize it was a toy gun, didn't have the orange cap in it. Kid had it there in front of him. Is that reasonable to believe that? Sure, it's reasonable to believe that. But you know what the people ask, and rightfully so? You know what we start to ask in our profession? Why did you pull right up on him? Was there a reason for that? Was somebody else's life in jeopardy? Was the situation rapidly unfolding that you had to intervene to protect the life of someone else? Maybe there was. But in an incident like that, where it was caught on video, and it was clear that none of those other factors were at play, people then question our credibility and say, what are you doing? Why did you do that? You created that situation. Now, does any of us think that that officer woke up that day and went to work and said, I want to kill a 14-year-old little boy? Absolutely not. That's where we as professionals and organizations say, let's revisit this. What are we doing? What have we been doing right? What have we been doing wrong? Where do we need to refine this so that we can put you all in a much better situation when you are out there? See, for far too long, in the culture of policing, we always used to say to ourselves, the most important thing is that I go home at the end of my shift. And that is important. But not at the cost of an innocent person who didn't need to die. Our mentality must be not that just that we go home at the end of our shift, but that everybody goes home at the end of our shift. I'm a man of faith. Every night I go to bed before I pray. And one of the things that I do every night, this may seem corny to some, but it's important to me. Ever since I became chief back in 2008, my greatest fear, and that which I pray against, is having to hand one of your loved ones a folded flag. And I made a promise to myself, as a leader, that nothing's going to stand in my way of ensuring that I don't have to do that. And it's not going to be because of an individual, and it's certainly not going to be because of an organization, particularly one in which I got control of. We are not going to do this because it's uncomfortable. We are going to do things like this. And that's for your safety and well-being, and the person sitting next to you. You see, I'm not going to be handing Thornton's children a folded flag because Officer Ramirez doesn't want to do that which we've identified as best practices. And that's where it's important for us not just to hold ourselves to a higher level on a standard. That's important. That's integrity. But true courage is the willingness to hold the person to the left, right, front, and back of you to that same level. And that's where culture comes in. We're not doing this because it's training. We're not doing this because it's policy. We're doing this because it's the way that things should be. The standard is the standard. So we worked with PERF and developed a curriculum. Lieutenant Lutz represented us and really asserted himself up at the training in New York City with NYPD and a lot of departments across this country as one of the experts in the nation. I had people from Scotland calling me that were at this training that remarked how well Lieutenant Lutz represented all of us up there. And we have brought this training back, and it's been professionalized by some of you that are in this room and other trainers that are going to come in as well. I'm extremely grateful for that. And I think in large part, the reason why this has been so successful in its implementation within the organization is because it really has been refined, developed, and implemented by each other here. And we're going to continue to grow upon that. So one of the things that I do ask of you as you go through this training is just don't be along this for the ride. This is going to be interactive. This is not just going to be sitting back and listening to what's being lectured to you. But what I really want from you is feedback on this. I want you to share that with the people in this program. Let us know how we can make this better. This past year, we've had more than 24 police departments from across this country and internationally visit us to see what it is that you do and how you are doing it. Because it's remarkable. It is remarkable the progress that you all, individually out there, and collectively have created. The ability to make progress in one of the most challenged cities in this country. I mean, think about that. We have one of the most challenged cities in this country. And you have been able to make progress in developing relationships that at its foundation is rooted in trust and respect and treating people with dignity. So this is just going to build upon this. And this is going to put you in a better position to succeed from a community policing perspective. But most importantly, to ensure your safety and well-being and the safety and the well-being that of the people that you're dealing with. I know the last thing any one of you want to do is pull the trigger. Right? That's a life-altering moment. This isn't the movies. Right? Some of you in this room have experienced that. Right? You don't want to have to go through that personally. You don't want your family to have to go through that. It's a life-altering moment. And again, I want to make sure that you're returned safe and sound to your loved ones. And I want to make sure that the people in our community are returned safe and sound to their loved ones too, even if they so happen to be involved. Right? Our job is not jury and executioner. Our job is just to bring peace to the situation and let the system handle it. Safe, put them safe and sound where they belong. Either return them home or put them in custody. But let's do so in a way in which we all go home together. So good luck with the training. And again, be mindful of the fact that we want as much feedback as we can from you all in this process, because it will be that from you which makes a good program great.
Go ahead, Secretary. Sure.